The two of them were hanging in the air suspended by vines. Grant's expression looked even worse than crying, while Moen wore a face full of gloating delight. Mentor Mela Demir. Professor Prang looked at the petite figure, who had somehow appeared before him. A trace of confusion appeared in his eyes along with reverence. Then he suddenly realized, did those bastards actually alarm you? His voice was filled with anger and a hint of guilt. Before Prang could even finish speaking, a pink magic circle suddenly smacked down. That magic circle landed squarely on Prang's forehead, carrying a hint of punishment. If I hadn't been awakened, you would have died. The girl's voice held a trace of reproach and a trace of concern. After Prang winced in pain, an extraordinarily powerful healing spell surged into his body. Those ghastly wounds left behind by battle all healed completely in an instant. The bloody hole in his abdomen closed rapidly. His shattered bones reconnected. His torn muscles regrew. In less than a few breaths, Professor Prang had completely returned to his original state. Go get some rest. Leave this place to me. The girl's voice was calm and indifferent, yet it carried an authority that could not be questioned. Yes, Professor Prang responded respectfully. Rigid and old-fashioned, as he always was, he held not the slightest doubt toward this order. Those aged eyes of his were filled with trust and a deep sense of gratitude. The wand, which had looked extremely out of place in Professor Prang's hand, looked utterly natural once it was in the girl's grasp. That pink star wand in her fair little hand looked as if it had grown there, as if it had always belonged to her. At the tip of the wand, a pair of wings slowly unfurled. Those wings were white as snow, radiating a soft glow. Pink light flowed and shimmered, running across the wand's surface like a living thing, revealing its complete form. At the very last moment before Prang was teleported away, the girl tilted her head and suddenly said, a trace of softness appearing on her delicate little face. Oh right, that girl over there, who was corrupted by the god of love. I preserved the very last shred of consciousness left inside her. She should still be able to hold on long enough to say a few words. Treasure it well. Her voice carried a trace of pity and a trace of gentleness. What? Professor Prang froze for a moment. Those aged eyes of his were full of shock. Then his eyes reddened, and tears welled up inside them. Thank you, Mentor. His voice choked up so badly that he could barely finish a complete sentence. No need to thank me, the girl said softly. It was only a small effort. She waved her hand. A calm expression appeared on that delicate little face. It really has been a long time. The girl's tender voice now carried a chilling, killing intent. Like a winter wind piercing into the bone. A cold light flashed in those red eyes. A terrifying gaze descended from the infinitely distant sky. Within that immense will filled with deathly silence and madness. There was mixed a trace of gravity. The girl raised her head, and the blue moon was reflected in her red eyes. That blue moon hung high in the night sky, radiating a strange, ghostly blue glow. The moonlight was crimson and cold, shrouding the entire land in blood red. The moon said nothing, but the savage shadows formed by its craters and lunar seas grew heavier and heavier, like a gigantic eye staring at this place. So it seems you still dislike me just as much as ever. The girl helplessly shook her head. A trace of complexity flashed through those red eyes. Then she looked toward the grotesque lump of flesh nearby. And you, why is it that every single time I see you, you're always this disgusting? God of love. Her voice was full of revulsion and disdain. That body, which could barely still be recognized as humanoid, visibly froze. That twisted mass of flesh wriggled once. A terrified expression appeared on its blurry face. Compared to the moon's indifference, she let a trace of fear slip out almost involuntarily. Then she let out a horrible sound like metal scraping against metal. How is this possible? Why aren't you dead yet? That voice was shrill and grating, like metal scraping across glass. Hey, my being alive surprises you that much? The girl smiled, a touch of smugness appearing on her delicate little face. But how does the saying go? Girls who love to sleep always age more slowly. For an 18-year-old beauty in the bloom of youth like me, who sleeps for decades at a time, living a few years longer is perfectly normal, isn't it? Her voice carried a trace of teasing and mockery. Then, in an instant, the girl's tone turned ice cold, as if winter itself had descended. But you, while I was asleep, you seem to have shown my academy a whole lot of special attention. Her voice was thick with killing intent. A cold glint flashed through those red eyes. The girl raised a hand and pointed it at that grotesque flesh ball. The motion was casual and natural. Her fair arm shone with an ivory-like luster beneath the moonlight. An instantly dazzling six-pointed magic circle unfolded in her palm. That magic circle was brilliant beyond measure, its light blinding. Runes flowed within it, radiating an aura capable of destroying heaven and earth. Then she clenched her hand slightly. Her fingers closed gently, as if she were grasping a mere ant. At that moment time itself seemed to freeze. The wind stopped. The air solidified. Even the moonlight dimmed. Without any warning, a sphere of light appeared right in front of the god of love's face. That orb was only the size of a fist, yet it radiated light like the sun. In the next instant, the entire academy was lit up by a massive explosion. The blast was deafening, like the heavens collapsing and the earth splitting apart. The shockwaves surged outward, sending the surrounding ruins flying all over again. The god of love let out a piercing shriek. That scream was sharp, miserable, and ear-splitting. Half of her body was blown into dust by the terrifying energy fluctuations. Blood and flesh exploded everywhere. Shredded meat flew in all directions. Sensing the threat of death, the god of love exploded with a bang, turning into countless tiny scraps of flesh that scattered in every direction. Those bits of flesh were like a swarm of startled insects, fleeing in all directions, moving at astonishing speed. Trying to run? A terrifying chill now appeared on the girl's adorably baby-faced cheeks. A cold light flickered in those red eyes. Since you came all the way here to pay me a visit, you should at least leave behind a little gift, shouldn't you? Her voice was full of mockery. The girl lightly waved the pink star wand in her hand. The movement was elegant and casual, like a conductor commanding an orchestra. A tremendous roar rang out. An almost horrifying amount of magic was drawn out from the depths of the academy. That magic was vast and boundless, like an ocean, like a galaxy, like endless flowing radiance. The next moment, those fleeing scraps of flesh suddenly lost all sense of direction. The shattered bits of meat that had been escaping in every direction now spun around like headless flies. Then they were gradually absorbed by a force they had no hope of resisting. That power was gentle yet overbearing, pulling every last fragment of flesh together. In the end, all of it fell into the magic circle in the girl's hand. Realizing it had been trapped, the flesh ball turned toward the white-haired girl outside the mirror, and let out an enraged howl. That roar was deafening, filled with despair and unwillingness. "Don't shout." The girl reached into the mirror with a light scoop of her hand. The movement was effortless. Her fair fingers passed through the magic circle, grabbed hold of that flesh ball, and gave it a gentle squeeze. In an instant, the flesh ball lost all signs of life. It became shriveled and ashen, like a withered fruit. The girl couldn't help showing a regretful expression. A trace of disappointment appeared on that delicate little face. "No wonder you're this weak after losing that crowned one's body. So it was only a tiny fragment of your will projected here. That really is just like you, god of love. So cowardly. No wonder they call you the shame of the outer gods."